So has this ever happened to you? You know how it's all going to unpack itself. You've got your plans A through Z. It's all figured out. You know exactly where you're going. And then something happens and it's like a whole new ball game. Yeah, me too. I want to tell you my story. But first, my name is Lisa of EnergieGal Holistic Wellness, and we are a community that is growing and gathering as we understand the integration between body, soul, and spirit. We are learning to re-narrate the story that we listen to and thereby manifest and change our lives and release the trauma that exists within our bodies. We are also coming into different kinds of relationships with ourselves, with each other, and with God on our journey through 2023. I graduated with a degree in English, and my specialty was going to be teaching high school. I would even prefer to teach college. So I decided that I would teach at the local small school where my kids went to school. So I went there telling them I'm only going to teach high school, just so that you know. And they said, okay, we're going to hire you for that. About a week before school starts, and they say, oh, by the way, you're going to be teaching kindergarten. Huh? You're going to be teaching 4 or 5-year-olds. Yeah. Oh, hell no. No, and a great big hard no. So I wasn't exactly sure where this thing was going to unpack itself, but I'm like, all right, if this is where I'm going, this is where I'm going. Can I tell you guys that more than all the books that I have read, these children taught me about life. You see, I had all the book knowledge, but they taught me how to integrate it into my everyday life. You know, when Jesus says, let the children come to me because the kingdom of heaven is inherited by children, man, I totally understand that. These children knew how to manifest heaven. They knew how to see heaven on earth. And I got to spend 7 years with kids who were anywhere from 3 to about 8, 9, 10 years old. Best 7 years of my life. Every day that goes by, I'm like, oh, I wish I was still doing that. It was so awesome. So there was this one little kid, and his name was Neil. And every day for lunch, Neil would bring the same exact meal. His mom would pack him the same exact meal. I think it was like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a little thing of carrot sticks, some apple, and a pudding with some apple juice to drink or something along that lines. And every single day, Neil would put his lunchbox out there and he'd go, oh, oh, because he was so excited to see what Mom packed for lunch. And I would watch this kid, and he'd unzip his lunchbox and he'd flip open the top, and there would be the same exact lunch every time. And he'd be like, oh, Miss Glazier, just look. He was trembling. He could not keep the excitement to himself. He was so happy with what was provided for him. And I was wondering, gee, could I live my life that way? I wonder how my life would change if every day I got up and even before my feet hit the floor, I was like, ooh, ooh, oh, in anticipation of whatever God, the universe, creator, love had in store for me, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all, that I'd be like, look, and be trembling with excitement, with anticipation, with eagerness to eat it all up. So we've been working on the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And he says that this is a practical guide to personal freedom. So our fourth agreement of 4 is breaking old agreements. This one's going to probably take 2 or 3 times for us to unpack, but we'll just start in a little bit today. This is what our author writes. Everyone talks about freedom. All around the world, different people, different races, different countries are fighting for freedom. But what is freedom? In America, we speak of living in a free country. But are we really free? Are we free to be who we really are? The answer is no. We are not free. True freedom has to do with the human spirit. It is the freedom to be who we really are. Who stops us from being free? We blame the government, we blame the weather, we blame our parents, we blame religion, we blame God. But who really stops us from being free? We stop ourselves. What does it really mean to be free? Sometimes we get married and we say that we lose our freedom, and then we get divorced and we are still not free. What stops us? Why can't we be ourselves? We have memories of long ago when we used to be free and we loved being free, but we have forgotten what freedom really means. If we see a child who is 2 or 3, perhaps 4, we find a free human. Why is this human free? Because this human does whatever he or she wants to do. The human is completely wild, just like a flower, a tree, or an animal that has not been domesticated. Wild. And if we observe humans who are 2 years old, we find that most of the time these humans have a great big smile on their face and they're having fun. They are exploring the world. They are not afraid to play. They are afraid when they are hurt, when they are hungry, when some of their needs are not met. But they don't worry about the past. They don't care about the future. And they only live in the present moment. Very young children are not afraid to express what they feel. They are so loving that if they perceive love, they melt into love. They are not afraid to love at all. That is the description of a normal human being. As children, we are not afraid of the future or ashamed of the past. Our normal human tendency is to enjoy life, to play, to explore, to be happy, and to love. They don't worry about the past. They don't care about the future. And they only live in the present moment. And so we ground this. Here is my challenge to all of us. Today, as we go about our days, what if you and I started being mindful? And as, say, we get in the car, oh, that same old car, but we get in the car going, oh, look at this car. And we put the same old sweatshirt on that we've had forever, but we put it on, we go, oh, eager anticipation. The simple things, preparing dinner, but in a vibration of eager anticipation and excitement. You know, it sounds so simple, and I'm telling you, we can come up with excuses as to why we wouldn't do that. My car is nothing but a piece of poop. Why would I be in eager anticipation of that? You know, Neil, same old peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It wasn't anything fancy. It was the bare bones basics. But he was an eager anticipation, and not even that it would manifest to be something different. I think His eager anticipation of what was in that lunchbox changed how he perceived the same old, same old. See, I don't think that the outer world had to change so much as when Neil's inner world came into eager anticipation, the outer world stayed the same, but he saw it differently. And what if that's the same with you and me? What if the relationships don't change, but we change in here? And because we change in here, the outer relationships that we have, we perceive them differently, from a different octave, from a different perception, from a different way of seeing, from a different point of view. All because we began with this eager anticipation. Life will squeeze us, and we will get a chance to see what's inside. Guaranteed. He calls it breaking old agreements. And we're going to continue talking about that. But if you made an agreement that you cannot be happy until your outside world changes, then you are not in power. Your happiness is a key that exists in somebody else's pocket and is conditional upon somebody else. Neil was going to be happy with what was in that lunchbox regardless. And you know what I want to say? I think there was a time, and in 7 years it probably happened more than once, I think that there was a time when Mom forgot to empty out the leftovers in that lunchbox, and Neil opened up that lunchbox, and it was the crumbs of yesterday's meal that Neil was still pretty darn excited about and still ate. I think it was like half a sandwich, part of another sandwich, half an eaten apple. It was clear this was yesterday's lunch. That did not change Neil at all. He was like, look. Neil realized that the outside world may stay the same, but our perception of it can change. And in that way, the outside world does kind of change. I am willing to approach everything with childlike wonder and eager anticipation. I am willing to melt into love. I am willing to consider letting go of the past and not fretting and worrying about the future. How else did he say it? He said, not worrying about the past and not caring about the future, but just living in this very present moment. As always, I'm so thankful for your presence here. My name is Lisa. I'm an holistic wellness practitioner, and I'm available for one-on-one consultations should you desire. Links below. In the meantime, we are a community that's growing, and the way that we do that is we subscribe to this channel. We also comment, like, and share. Guys, it's been real, and I will see you again tomorrow.